The Truther Girls. The Truther Girls.
Hi everyone. Well, the American elections are coming up and it looks like Ron Paul is doing very well. Prison Planet says new Iowa poll shows Paul accelerating away from Romney. That poll showed that Ron Paul is right now more popular with Republicans in Iowa than Mitt Romney and Newt Gingrich. Well, that's great news, especially that he's doing better than Newt Gingrich, who once proposed the death penalty for trafficking marijuana in 1996, which is weird because he's admitted to smoking pot himself, so I guess this is a case of do as I say and not as I do. Anyhow, Ron Paul's doing very well, but the Washington Post says Ron Paul could win in Iowa, but chances of GOP nomination still slim. Ron Paul is like kind of the favorite candidate among truthers because he stands for things like ending the war and bringing the troops home, restoring the Constitution, ending the Federal Reserve, or at least getting it under control and auditing it, and other things. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but personally I think he's a bit of a 9/11 truther. I know some of you are going to say Ron Paul is a Mason, but I think all politicians are Masons, aren't they? Anyway, I don't care if he's a Mason. As far as the politicians go right now, if I was an American and I was to vote, I would vote for Ron Paul. But could Ron Paul really win the election? Well, if you want to know if he could win, here's a question that you should ask. Does he have Rh negative blood? Why would I ask such a question? Well, because all of the presidents since Eisenhower, except for George Bush Jr., have all had Rh negative blood. You can go here on rhesusnegative.net and see the list, including Bill Clinton, Bush Sr., President Kennedy, even Obama. To me, it looks like that is more than a coincidence. Right now, a lot of you are probably asking yourselves, Sonia, what is negative blood? Here's a simple explanation from Wikipedia. Here are the main blood groups. Group A has the presence of A antigen. Group B has the presence of B antigen. AB has the presence of both A and B antigens, and O has the presence of none of these antigens. And RH stands for rhesus, as in rhesus monkey, but it's not really from a monkey. It's a protein that is present in most people's blood on the planet, except for those who have Rh negative blood. If you look for statistics, you'll usually find something like 15% of the world's population is Rh negative, but that's not quite accurate because 15% of the North American, Australian, and Western European population is Rh negative, but for Asia and Africa, it's much, much lower than that. It's something like under 1%. And considering that most of the world's population is in Asia and Africa, Rh negative status is actually much more rare than 15%. Around here, it's not that rare. I'm actually Rh negative. I'm O negative, which means my blood has no antigens and no Rh, which means I'm like the perfect universal blood donor. Nobody really knows where Rh negative came from, and there are actually a lot of conspiracy theories associated with this, that it's either Adamic blood, or it's Nephilim, or it's aliens, it's reptilians. Also, it could be Neanderthal, which I think it's more likely has something to do with Neanderthal because the Neanderthals had O negative blood. So for some reason, all the presidents in recent decades have been Rh negative. My guess is probably many of them before that as well. We just don't have documentation. It's very exceptional that Obama is Rh negative because his father was Kenyan, and Rh negative blood is present in something like 1 in 3,000 people in sub-Saharan Africa. So I'd say that's more than a coincidence, given that they've all been Rh negative, including Obama. And it's not only the presidents who are Rh negative, but the royal family and a lot of people in Hollywood and the music industry, notably the top stars of the hippie era. Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Mick Jagger, 3 out of 4 Beatles, people like that, all Rh negative, and also quite a few members of the 27 Club, Kurt Cobain as well. So there seems to be something to it. I just don't know what it is exactly, and I can tell you that I'm not reptilian. If anything, I probably think I was more likely to be Neanderthal. But there's something special about Rh negative blood, and especially when it comes to presidents. And there's enough evidence of this that I would say whether Ron Paul is Rh negative or not would be a good indication of whether he has any real chance at the presidency. So I like Ron Paul, and I would be very happy to see him become president, although I have no faith in the system, and I tend to think that even if he did become president, he probably wouldn't be allowed to do all the things that he would like to do. But I don't know, there's always hope. So let me know what you think. Would you vote for Ron Paul? Have you ever heard of this RH negative conspiracy business before? Let me know what you think, and thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.